Tottenham Hotspur are about to prove why they are one of the favourites to win the Carabao Cup this season. Have a look at Spurs' squad depth going into this game against Doncaster Rovers. It is actually insane how we have gone to having bare bones under Ange Postecoglou to just a season later, when everyone's fit, of course, it makes a huge difference, having so many tools available at our disposal, and it allows us to manage these competitions really great, take them incredibly seriously, because Thomas Frank will know that Tottenham fans will be desperate to win another piece of silverware if it is possible this season. It is Doncaster Rovers coming to North London for the Carabao Cup third round. Spurs obviously getting that luxury of missing the first two rounds due to their Champions League commitments, which is always nice. We famously lost in the semi-finals last season to Liverpool. Newcastle obviously went on to win the trophy that year. And Spurs, since we last won the Carabao Cup, have been in the final 3 times, as recently as 2021, that one where we lost against Manchester City. Again, another famous moment where Spurs decided to sack Jose Mourinho just a few days before that game. But this year feels different. Tottenham are defensively stable. We started the season really well. We're unbeaten in 4 of our 6 games in all competitions under Thomas Frank since he became our manager. We've got a very favourable tie on paper against a League One side that we should have no problems beating regardless of who's on the pitch. And I just feel really positive about this one. The Brighton performance, initially my emotions were a little bit like, oh, that's so annoying because we obviously drew the game 2-2. We weren't able to pick up all 3 points. But when I look back on it now, I actually feel a lot happier because of how we played. We were on the front foot. We created plenty of chances. And I just do think we were a little bit unlucky to concede 2 goals in the manner that we did. So going into this Doncaster game as a follow-up, it gives Tottenham the opportunity to prove why their squad depth is going to be so key in helping them succeed this season. Let's talk about it really. So we could essentially, if we wanted to, change the entire starting 11, which I think we might do, to be honest with you. I do think we may change our entire starting 11 for this game because we have players available that can come in and perform and win at this level, and hopefully win at this level quite comfortably. There are players that haven't had the opportunity to really impress so far. We still have barely seen much of Randall Kolo Muani. Obviously, Matthias Tell, Wilson Odobert have had limited minutes. Archie Gray, all of these sorts of players that I am going to talk about, and I will build my predicted lineup towards the end of the video. But I think we can use in this competition. Obviously, they'll still then be fresh and probably on the bench for the Wolves game on Saturday, and we can just continue to rotate our squad and manage the Premier League, the Champions League, the Carabao Cup, and then the FA Cup when it comes about early next year as well. I think we need to make the most of it while we have a fully fit squad. Obviously, Dominic Solanke is coming back into the fray. Randall Kolo Muani missed out of the weekend because of a dead leg, but he should be available. So there are plenty of players out there that Spurs can select for this game. And we haven't even got to the academy talent that may be involved. Obviously, Demet Ajayi is on loan at Doncaster, so he isn't eligible to face Tottenham, his parent club. But there are players who I feel like may still get a run out. For example, Dane Scarlett. He's always there or thereabouts when it comes to Tottenham in cup competitions. We obviously saw him and a few of the other academy guys do really well in the Europa League last season. Luca Barnett-Williams, who has been on fire for the Tottenham Academy. I would love to see him involved in the squad in some capacity, even if he can just get a few minutes towards the end of the game. I think that would be really beneficial for him. He's way too good for the youth level that he's playing at. I think he scored a hat-trick last time out, and he's scoring pretty much every single game that he plays for the Tottenham under-21. So, yeah, it would be really interesting to see if Thomas Frank leans more on his academy players in this game, or whether he leans on the players that are on the fringes of the first team that haven't really been getting the chance to go out there and impress and prove why they need to be a part of this Tottenham team. I mean, Antonin Kinski, who we obviously signed last season, has barely been seen under Thomas Frank. I think Brandon Austin was given more minutes in pre-season than him. So yeah, I expect to see him come into the fold as our goalkeeper to give Vicario a little bit of a rest in this one. I think we may, because of the defensive options we have available, I do think we'll see both Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero come out. And with Radu Dragusin still being injured and Kota Takai not being fully fit yet, I do anticipate Kevin Danso and Ben Davies being the two players to come in that centre-back role. Danso, of course, has been excellent in his cameos so far for Tottenham this season. Ben Davies hasn't really seen any minutes. He's also had injury problems. The fullbacks are a very, very interesting one because you could argue that maybe they are the areas where we haven't got as much depth. You could say Ben Davies could go out on the left, Mickey van der Ven could play out there, but I do think, considering we saw Spence on the bench for most of the game against Brighton, he only came on for a short while at the end of the game. I am expecting Jed Spence to start, maybe at right back to give Pedro Porro a rest in this game. And, you know, we could see an academy player come in at left back, but I just have a feeling that Udogi's going to play again. I think Frank will want to give the younger and the maybe not as prevalent players their opportunity, but also make sure there's enough quality in this team that there are no possibilities of an upset. So I do think that will maybe be the back four with Udogi included in there. I am expecting Archie Gray to come into the team for this. He looked really, really bright when he came on against Brighton at the weekend. And yeah, he's been really unlucky, I think, so far this season. Where we've had João Paulinho come into the squad, he's been absolutely excellent. Where we've had Bentancur, Bergvall, Sarr, all of these players playing really, really well. Archie Gray's not really had a sniff. He could obviously play at fullback. Do you know what, actually? That may well happen. Archie Gray may play at right back and Jed Spence may play at left back, but I do think Frank would like to use Archie Gray more as a central midfielder, so I also wouldn't be surprised to see him in there. Interesting to see if Pat Matar Sarr does play this game, because he didn't get any minutes against Brighton, inevitably being rested after all that running he does. So will Sarr be one of the maybe more senior players that Thomas Frank leans on for this game? Potentially we could see a midfield two of those. I think Xavi Simons will play. I think he will be the star guy who will get a run out in this game, just because he had a really bright cameo. I think we're still getting him adjusted to the pace of English football, integrated with the squad. So even if we just give him 45 minutes, I would like to see more of him as well. I do think that he's such a supreme talent, and he changed the game for Tottenham. When he came on against Brighton at the Amex, he was the best player on the pitch. He should have had a goal. We should have had 2 goals, and arguably he was the reason we were able to really push on and claw ourselves back into that game. So don't be surprised to see him starting the number 10 role. And then the front three is probably where we have the most depth in squad. You know, we had a front three at the weekend of, who do we have? Richarlison, Kudus and Odobert. Wouldn't be surprised if Odobert plays again, but at the same time, I'm expecting Matthias Tell to get a run out. Kolo Muani, I would like to see start as our striker. I don't know how fit he is. He's definitely not fit enough to play 90 minutes at the moment, so it'll be really, really interesting to see if he does come in. Obviously, Wilson Odobert, as I've already mentioned. Solanke might be back in the squad, so he would like some minutes. Dane Scarlett as well, of course. Brennan Johnson will probably play. So there's a lot of options and depth, which is kind of like the overall message that I'm trying to get into this video, is that Tottenham have got a lot of players to pick from to be able to go out and win this game quite comfortably, and also satisfy the players that are maybe getting a little bit frustrated that they're not playing as much as they perhaps want to so far this season. It gives players opportunity to impress, to stake their claim for a spot in the first team, and yeah, just in general, help Tottenham on that path towards another piece of silverware, which is the main objective, of course. I would love a trip to Wembley this season. I really, really would. You know, and hopefully if we continue on the nice side of the draws, especially, this is obviously all permitting that we get past Doncaster, which I really, really hope that we do. Then I think Spurs can have a really good go at this competition this season, and I don't see why we can't get to the final and win it. We have great squad depth at the moment. We've started really well under Thomas Frank, and I just think there's a lot of potential in this Tottenham team that is to be unlocked. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you feel like this should be a walkover for Tottenham against Doncaster, League One opposition? Who would you like to see in the starting 11? And what are your score predictions? I'm going to go with a healthy 4-0 win to Tottenham in this game. I do feel like there shouldn't be any upsets. It should be straightforward, but we know that that's never the case with Tottenham, really, do we? But we will see. I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling positive, and it will be nice to get a lot of these players a run out that probably need it to keep match fitness and as I've said, just put a bit more competition into the squad, because competition is never ever a bad thing. But thank you so much for watching my Doncaster preview, how Tottenham's squad depth is going to lead them to silverware this season. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all of your support recently over the last few weeks, now that the videos are back on a regular basis. But enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, come on you Spurs.